Sup team, welcome to the video, and happy New Year's everybody. So in today's video, I just want to go over my last little bit of my training program with you guys in 2019, talk about how the rest of my year ended and how things are going in 2020 so far. So this is just the last couple weeks here. I would say this is probably actually the last month of 2019 with my training program here, and what I ended up doing, I don't think I talked about this in my last training vlog for you guys, but what I ended up doing is switching my training block to a 4 full day split. So I'm doing 1 upper day, 1 lower day, and then 4 full body days. And there's been tons of research just showing that by splitting up your training frequency throughout the week for your muscle groups, it's just providing so much more opportunity for recovery and hypertrophy. So a lot of great research in regards to that. So that's kind of my rationale from that. And I've actually really been enjoying it. One of the other reasons is because I don't really like training legs. So doing an entire leg day multiple times a week is just a little bit challenging for me. So the biggest thing that I want to talk about with finishing 2019 strong was my PR here on bench press. So I managed to actually get 2 reps at 120 pounds, which is something that I really wasn't expecting at all. I wasn't even going to really test my maxes that day, but I was feeling really good, really strong, so I wanted to give it a try. And I was only going to do it for 1 rep, and I was like, nah, screw it. We're going to go for 1 more, and it felt so good. So it's really amazing to see how much my strength is going up. I am in a reverse dieting phase right now where I am eating about 2,500 calories, relatively maintaining weight. I am slowly gaining, and that is the goal in mind, but it's supposed to be extremely slow going into the 2020 year, but putting some of those extra carbs to extra use in the gym, which is really exciting. So with my full body days here, I am always making sure that I prioritize a compound movement or 2 at the beginning of my workouts. So as you saw previously, I was doing inverted rows, and that's one of my compound movements that I am trying to focus on progressing with right now. So as of right now, I have a 25-pound plate on my lap. I remember when I first started to give this a try, I could barely do 4 reps. What I am doing for inverted rows are AMRAP sets. For those who don't know, that's just as many reps as possible. It's a little bit different than taking your rep range to failure. You just want to do as many reps as possible while maintaining good form. So over the last few weeks with inverted rows with a 25-pound plate on my lap, I am progressing more towards 7 to 8 reps now. So strength gains have been pretty insane these last few months here, and even going into 2020, my strength is kind of starting to freak me out a little bit, but I'll talk about that a little bit more in the next training vlog video for you guys when I talk about how January went and how it's going. Now this machine right here, I was doing B stance hip thrusts, and I actually discovered after doing it on that machine, I really don't like that machine. I don't know why, it just kind of puts me into an awkward position, and I found after I was done my working sets that I had a really uncomfortable lower back pump. My lower back wasn't in pain, but there was definitely blood flow there, which of course when you're doing hip thrusts, that's not the targeted area. So I don't know if maybe my setup was a little bit wrong, but I've tried that machine before and I have had issues with it with just being uncomfortable. So I was feeling a little bit lazy and not wanting to set up the actual barbell, but after what I experienced there with that lower back pump or issue, whatever it was, I definitely am not going to be using that machine going forward. So always a good learning lesson to kind of just pay attention to what your body is telling you. And just because you see like kind of a cool machine, and some people, they like it, right? Like sometimes it works for people and other times it doesn't. So I think it's important to just kind of listen to your body and be okay with doing some different variations if needed. Okay, so this exercise right here is a new one that I've been trying to progress with, and that's the one-legged stability ball leg curls. I was doing pretty good with double legs, so I decided to switch it up, make it a little bit more challenging. And as you can tell from my facial expressions here, I found this to be extremely challenging. This was the first week that I did incorporate this exercise into my routine. I was only able to get about 4 to 5 leg curls on each side, so it is a really great exercise just for completely isolating your hamstrings. And as you guys know, my hamstrings are probably my weakest muscle group, so I'm really excited to continue progressing with that exercise. After a few weeks now, I'm able to do closer to 8 to 10 reps. So I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter specifically what exercises you are doing. I think it's really important to find exercises that you genuinely enjoy, making sure that you are prioritizing free weights more so over machines, and making sure that you are prioritizing multiple joint movements versus single joint movements. Single joint movements such as this one right here with the chest supported row are really excellent to incorporate in, but you still want to make sure that multiple joint movements are your number one priority. So it doesn't matter, like, so for example, if you like doing front squats versus back squats, then do front squats, and then you just want to focus on progressing with that movement over time. Same thing here with leg press. As you can see, I'm at, what am I at there? 3.5 plates? That's insane. So, I mean, I've been progressing with that clearly because the last time, I think, when I shared my last training vlog with you guys, I had maybe 2 plates on there. So that's the biggest thing, is just finding exercises that you enjoy and then kind of sticking to them and trying to become a master in those movement patterns. I think people, like, if I can encourage you to do anything going into 2020, is not to switch things up too often. I think that happens way too frequently, where, you know, people are trying to find programs on Instagram and they're switching it up on a week-to-week basis. And I totally get it. I switch my programs up, but it's more so on, like, sometimes an 8 to 12 week basis, where I'm still prioritizing those compound movements, but I'm just kind of switching up the isolated work, those single joint movements, just to have more variety and to switch up the pairing system so it keeps it fresh and exciting. Okay, that's my rant for the day. Okay, so here is something really exciting. Back squats. So what is that? We have 140 on the bar right now, my friends, which is something that I am so excited for, and I'll share it in the next video log with you guys here, but I ended up actually doing 145, I think a couple of weeks later after this video. And the reason why I'm so excited about that is because I haven't been able to squat that much since my back injury, which has been almost 2 years now, and I'm still kind of dealing with the repercussions of my back injury. It takes a long time to rebuild that connective tissue after you have gone through an injury. So the fact that I'm able to squat 145 pounds now is something I'm really happy, really excited with. So this exercise here, I'm not sure if I discussed it in the last video. I apologize if I'm repeating myself, team. But for this one here, I'm doing prone reverse flies. And as you can tell, I'm actually using plates instead of actual dumbbells. Same thing here with the lateral raises. So the rationale to using plates is just because this is a single joint movement and I'm doing really high reps. So I don't want to lift super heavy, but I do want to make it a little bit more challenging for myself. So I'm not there doing like 30 reps before I actually start to feel some blood flow. So the rationale with having the plates instead of the dumbbells is it actually increases the resistance arm. So that's where I'm holding the weight. Because the plates are longer than what the dumbbell is, it increases the resistance arm, which makes it much more challenging, where you don't have to lift heavier, but it is going to feel much more fatiguing much quicker than doing the same weight using dumbbells. So that's kind of the reasoning for that. And the last exercise I think that I'll talk about with you guys today is this variation right here. I'm trying to add more variations in regards to back extension angles. So Another way you can do this is on the actual back extension machine, but I just really find that machine is very uncomfortable. The height of the machine, it just doesn't sit properly on my hips, so I struggle to actually focus on the muscle contraction of my hamstrings. So I saw one of the 3DMJ coaches do this variation on the Smith machine, and I fell in love with it. So I actually am comfortable. I'm actually comfortably set up in the machine where I am not having to focus on it irritating my hips at all. So with that in mind, I do have plates behind my heels. I know you can't see it in the video, but that's of course to prevent you from falling forward. So if you wanted to give that variation a try, just make sure that you have some plates behind your heels, and you do put a pad or a yoga mat like I have around the bar, just to make sure that you have a little bit of cushion in between the actual barbell and your hips, and go to town. It's such an excellent exercise. So that's about it, team. I mean, I'm just finishing off here with some Romanian deadlifts, and these are progressing pretty good as well. I find that with dumbbell Romanian deadlifts, it doesn't irritate my back like at all. For whatever reason though, when I use a barbell and I hip hinge, it is irritating my back still. So I'm not too sure as to why. So again, I'm just kind of playing with what I can do within my limitations, what I can actually progress with pain-free, and continue to make those gains. All right, team. Well, that's it for this month's video log. I hope you guys found it helpful. Hopefully you guys took something away from it. Happy New Year, my friends, and we'll chat soon.